So, I want you to imagine a place. It's not made of brick and mortar, but of pure psychological dread. Welcome to the Crimson Library. Think of it as this Gothic stage for a really dark drama, a story all about the soul and its powerful, almost magnetic pull toward non-existence.
And this quote, it just nails the core problem, doesn't it? Inside this library, every single person is what's called a stargazer. They're frantically building these inauthentic lives, putting on a performance, really, all just to escape the fundamental tension and the sheer agony of simply being.
So our little clinical mission begins here, in Act 1, a sickness of the soul. We have to start with a diagnosis, right? We need to try and understand the stagnant, decaying ego that's trapped within these crimson walls.
Okay, so this brings us to the Pharisees' paradox. You know how we all kind of curate our lives online? Well, this takes that idea to a chilling extreme. It suggests that the vibrant neon glow of our modern lives, all our social rituals, is just a beautiful mask, because behind it, the diagnosis reveals a hollow performance, hiding a deep internal sickness, a psyche that's literally rotting from the inside out.
And the diagnosis gets even darker. This entity, the high judge of the void, you can think of it as a kind of cosmic inner critic. It sees individuality itself as the disease. Our very sense of being a separate person is framed as a fractured pathology, a fever of the soul that's disrupting the peace of the universe. And a terminal illness like that, well, it calls for a radical surgical intervention.
And that brings us to Act 2. The wild hunt begins. The hunt is on, but we're not chasing some beast in the woods. No, we're hunting the illusions that prop up the self. This is a cold, calculated, systematic dismantling of all our defenses. And these surgeons of the soul, they have their instruments. First up, the ebony clock tower. It's this constant, ticking reminder of our own mortality, basically weaponizing time to apply relentless pressure. Next, you've got the verdant dragon, a gigantic mirror that forces us to confront every suppressed failure, every hidden self-deception. And finally, the weaponized uncanny, which takes all our familiar comforts and twists them into threatening voids. The goal here? To strip away every last shred of illusion.
So, you might be wondering, what's the point of all this terrifying stuff? It's confrontation. The wild hunt is designed to shatter that polished facade of your conscious self, what Freud would call the ego. And what's underneath? Well, it's the raw, primal, nameless force of the id. That's our unconscious drives and instincts. And according to this logic, that's the beast that's been wearing your face all along.
So once the self is just shattered and laid bare, a whole new logic starts to emerge. Act 3 introduces the seduction of zero. This is a cure that's offered from the abyss itself. It's the temptation of nothingness, a logic that's rooted deep in our instinct for self-destruction.
And this, right here, this is where everything gets flipped on its head. We're always taught to fear the void, right? To see it as this monstrous, terrifying emptiness. But in the Crimson Library, the void is presented as something completely different. It's a therapeutic cure, a compassionate midwife, ready to deliver us from the agony of being and into a state of profound peace. It's not an end to be feared, but a release to be welcomed.
You know, this logic of zero actually has a name in psychoanalysis: thanatos, the death instinct. It's a Freudian concept for that deep unconscious pull inside all of us to just escape the constant struggle of life and return to the quiet, inanimate peace of non-being. Okay, so all of this culminates in one final brutal trial. We've arrived at the climax of this whole psychological drama. A final prognosis is about to be delivered, and a choice, probably the most important choice anyone could ever make, has to be made. And here they are, the two paths. This is the Crimson Gift. On one side, you have the logic of zero, total dissolution into the abyss. It's a silent, peaceful resolution where you just surrender your consciousness. But on the other side is the logic of one, forging a sovereign, integrated self, one that's strong enough to endure the eternal storm of reality and assert its own will. So, what'll it be? Peace or power?
But then, we get the twist, the final reveal. It's called the physician's paradox. All of that pain, the wild hunt, the systematic dismantling of the self, it wasn't just designed to destroy you, it was the essential prerequisite. The intense pressure of this unmaking is the only crucible in which a new sovereign consciousness can actually be born.
And so we're left at the hourglass. The whole parable becomes a very personal challenge. To transform your own history, your own story, into a sovereign existence, well, it means you have to endure this fire. which leaves us with one final question. If this crucible of existence is the price you have to pay for a truly sovereign will, would you survive it?